Peace, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the MoneyCodez. My name is Joel, and I want to talk about what's on the screen right here, which is a pretty big headline. Massive data breach exposed countless social security numbers and personal info. So now, as you can see on the screen, your social security number, along with 2.7 billion others, is now up on the internet because of a data leak. So I want to talk about the implications because it does seem like headlines like this, they come out like once a year, if not once every 6 months. There's always some sort of data leak. And if all of our information is out here in this ether, how do we protect ourselves? What are the implications? So let's talk about that on today's episode of the MoneyCodez. So here's the deal. The National Public Data, a company that gathers a ton of personal information, got hacked, and now nearly 3 billion records, including social security numbers, are floating around the dark web. If you're like me, the first thought is, what does this mean for my security? That's what we're going to break down today. Let's talk about what a data breach like this really means. So companies like National Public Data, they collect our information and they store it in huge databases. I talked about these data aggregators a whole bunch on this channel. Some of you guys may be familiar, but when one of these databases get hacked, it's basically like a gold mine for identity thieves. Because if you really think about it, with your social, with your full name, with your address, people can do some serious damage if they know what they're doing. And if it's on the dark web, these guys know what they're doing. I'm talking about opening up credit cards, taking out loans, insurance policies. Like, it gets crazy when you hear the stories of what people are able to do when information is taken through identity theft. And unfortunately, this is not the first time I've even discussed this on this channel. The big ones were Equifax data breach back in 2017, the Capital One breach back in 2019. They were big, but this is on a whole different level. So here's how it went down. A group called the US DOD, and this is not talking about the Department of Defense, right? It's a different group. They hacked the National Public Data and stole over 277 gigs of sensitive data. And what they tried to do was they tried to sell it for 3.5 million, but that didn't work. Maybe they didn't find a buyer. I don't know. So what they did was they started to dump the information on the dark web for free. And once again, if you are a longtime subscriber, you should know what the dark web is. If not, I'll probably put a link above my head so you guys can see what the dark web is and how to protect yourself from the dark web. These are for people that have been victims of identity theft before. Definitely check out that video if you haven't already, because there's so many different companies out there that have our data, whether it's banks, whether it's LexisNexis, whether it's all these third-party data aggregators. It's just a matter of time before another leak or another breach or another hack, whatever you want to call it. But when it happens, how can we protect ourselves? What can we do? Do we need to panic every time this happens? How do we respond to these headlines in a mature way? I've told you guys about how there was a young guy who tried to get a job, and because he didn't realize he was a victim of identity theft, he had a job offer revoked, right? These are things that happen in real life. So if your identity gets tied up in fraudulent activities, that's going to cause some serious headaches when you're trying to make those big financial moves. So now let's talk about actionable advice. So here's what you can do. Here's the plan. So number one, I want you to watch your accounts closely. Look at your credit reports and look for things like accounts that you don't recognize. Check your balances. Look at your statement. Some of you guys are registered with notifications, but still, it does not hurt to just manually go ahead and review your accounts. Make sure to go to annualcreditreport.com and get a free copy of your credit report. You can do this every single week. Number two, I want you guys to freeze your credit reports. And I want to emphasize this. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Freezing your credit reports is absolutely free, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you the resources on how to do that. So now let's clear some things up. I was actually texting one of my friends, and we were talking about this story, and I told him, yeah, in these situations, it's a good idea to make sure your credit reports are frozen, because if you're not actively applying for loans, actively applying for, jobs, insurance, if nothing really is going on in your life, keep this thing frozen. And when it's time for you to do, let's say, a credit application, you can go in there, unfreeze your account, do what you got to do, and then freeze it back up. So I'm talking to him about it. He's like, yeah, that's why I pay, I forget what the amount he said, but he's like, yeah, that's why I pay TransUnion $20-some to do that. And I'm looking a little bit confused because I'm like, wait a second, hold on. Why are you paying the credit bureaus to freeze your account? Like, are you trying to get any other additional features or what? He was like, no, I had to pay $20-some to freeze my credit bureaus. And I'm still looking confused. I'm like, bro, you don't have to pay anybody. You don't have to pay Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion to freeze. So I gave him a hard time about that. but I'm telling you the same information that I told him. There's a whole bunch of upsells the credit bureaus will love to sell you on, and I'm not knocking that. If there are things in those upsells, in those products and services that you need, go for it, right? But if all you want to do is just freeze your credit reports, you don't have to pay anybody to do that. So let's talk about the difference between a credit freeze and a credit lock. A credit freeze is free, and it stops anyone from accessing your credit report until you decide to unfreeze it. You can do this with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And in my opinion, like I said before, if you're not trying to do any moves right now, you're not trying to apply for anything, you're not trying to move jobs or do anything like that, keep your accounts frozen. Just keep them frozen. It's honestly one of the best ways that you can protect yourself, again, for free. Now you have credit locks. And credit locks are similar, but they're usually a part of a paid service. The bureaus like to sell this as extra protection, but honestly, I think a freeze, it does the job. It does the job and it does what it needs to do. So here's the links to freeze your credit reports for Experian. I'm going to put that on the screen. Here is the link for Equifax. And here is the link for TransUnion and how to freeze your credit reports with TransUnion. If this video has helped you, make sure to hit the like button and share it with someone who needs to see this. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on how to protect your financial future. Before you head out, last but not least, make sure to subscribe to the MoneyCodez Insider community. The link is down in the description. It's where you can get the latest and greatest when it comes to credit, finance, and protecting your wealth. It's a place where you'll get your questions answered, connect with like-minded individuals, and get access to exclusive content that you won't see on YouTube, like the masterclass that we're launching on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, where we're going to be showing you guys, it's going to be 3 weeks. The first one is this Sunday, and we're going to be showing you guys how to fight back against the debt collection companies. Trust me, guys, you don't want to miss this. It's absolutely free. You can join by clicking the link down in the description and waiting for Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern time for us to go live. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed. I'll check you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.